brain about what happens when we're wavering a little bit. So we've got lots to talk about. Stay with us and give us a call if you have any questions yourself at 678-613-5857. As always, we've got some trending topics to discuss. We've got research to dish. We're going to look at hope. We're going to look at the power of prayer. And of course, we have our weekly balance challenge. So stay tuned. We'll be right back on Change.
Great leaders aren't born. They're made, and not just anywhere. They're made in special places by special qualified trainers in places like the Academy of Creative Coaching. The Academy of Creative Coaching is an international certification program with courses in health and wellness coaching, spiritual coaching, relationship coaching, executive coaching, life coaching, and cultural competency coaching. Courses are online, hybrid, or face-to-face. The Academy of Creative Coaching is empowering coaches to empower the world. Make a positive change in yourself and the world. Go to academyofcreativecoaching.com.
When it comes to saving money, don't act like a baby.
Goo goo gaga.
Be the boss and make a budget.
I'm the boss, baby.
You're the boss of me.
I am the boss of you.
Are not.
M2.
Are not.
M2.
Need a little help?
Aren't you going to do any work?
I'm very busy delegating.
Create a personalized savings plan.
We could share.
You obviously didn't go to business school.
And get other tools and tips at feedthepig.org. Brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
Oh, long time no see. It's me, the rock t-shirt in the back of your closet. Dude, remember? You crowd surfed in me, man. But you haven't worn me in like forever. I get it, you're retired, but I still got some rock left in me. So take me to Goodwill, where I could really make a difference.
Your donations to Goodwill create jobs, training programs, and education assistance for people in your community. To find your nearest donation center, go to goodwill.org. Donate stuff. Create jobs. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
We're more connected than ever before. 90% of America's students use some form of social media, but not all of it's used in a good way. Hurtful posts online are leading to social isolation for many. Psychologists say it's bullying in a brand new way. Well, Beyond Differences and I Keep Safe are looking to change that with ideas for students, their parents, and even teachers. Take the pledge to be kind online and learn more at wearekindonline.com.
Hey, become the new you at Cobb County Kia. We still have 0% for 75 months on Optima, Forte, Sorrento, and Sportage. We also have that 90-minute guarantee. So this is what you do. Shop Cobb County Kia in Kennesaw and CobbCountyKia.com. 90-minute guarantee by appointment only. Purchase must be on in-stock unit. 90-minute guarantee based on original customer agreement to terms dependent on credit. Lending of $500 will be paid by check once the loan is funded by lending institution or may be deducted from the price of the car, whichever customer chooses. See dealer for details. So this is what you do.
Oh, long time no see. It's me, the rock t-shirt in the back of your closet. Dude, remember? You crowd surfed in me, man. But you haven't worn me in like forever. I get it, you're retired, but I still got some rock left in me. So take me to Goodwill, where I could really make a difference.
Your donations to Goodwill create jobs, training programs, and education assistance for people in your community. To find your nearest donation center, go to goodwill.org. Donate stuff. Create jobs. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
Adopt US Kids presents Multiple Choice Parenting.
You accidentally cut your daughter's bangs unevenly. Do you, A, line things up a centimeter from her hairline?
Man, oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man.
No. Sweatbands are so hot right now. Everyone's wearing them. Like that basketball player and that other basketball player.
B, get spiritual.
Mom, where did all the mirrors go?
A reflection could never capture our true selves.
Huh?
Beauty is within.
C, look on the bright side.
Less time blow drying, more time texting.
Or D, show empathy.
Mom, you really don't have
Ta-da! Twinsies!
I kinda love it. As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
My savings are gone.
Okay, where were they last?
Here, right before I spent them on that vacation to Aruba.
Weird. Not weird. Not saving now means no money later. For free ways to save, go to feedthepig.org. This message brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
Green light.
Hey, girl.
School zone.
I'm getting hungry. Car changing lanes. You want to meet me for pizza? Stop sign. Intersection clear. Yeah, street. Pizza sounds good. Ballin Street? Girlin Street!
It's hard to concentrate on two things at once, like texting and driving. Stop the text, stop the wrecks. How will you stop texting and driving? Tell us at stoptextstopwrecks.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Morning and welcome back to the Live Exchange. I'm Dr. Pamela, and today we are talking about the power of faith, and we are joined by Pastor Wesley Thompson, who is also an author. And I'm going to let him introduce himself to you all, because there's quite a bit that he is that he's done and that he's about, and no pressure. No pressure. Tell us who you are.
Well, first of all, Pam, thank you for this invite. So glad to be here. Back in the ATL. Yes. When I pulled up, I just had so many flashbacks, and I just thought, even when I was sitting in traffic, I was like, oh, I missed this.
You miss it.
I miss it. Yes.
Where are you now? Let everybody know where you are.
I am now in Florence, Alabama, Muscle Shoals, Alabama. For those of you who are not familiar with that, that's about 15 minutes west of Huntsville, Alabama. Okay. That's my hometown. So just to tell you a little bit about myself, my name is Wesley Thompson, born and raised in Florence, Alabama. Graduated from the University of North Alabama in 2010 with a bachelor's degree in political science. And after that, moved to Atlanta in 2011 to pursue my Master of Divinity degree from the Mercer University McAfee School in Theology, and graduated.
Scholar.
Yeah, she called me a scholar. So I'm not a scholar, but I did go to school.
Yes.
But I graduated there in 2014 and lived here in Atlanta for, let's see, from 2011 to 2016. In fact, it's through Mercer. That's how I met Pam. And I currently pastor the Bethel Colbert Missionary Baptist Church in Leeton, Alabama, which is in that same area, Muscle Shoals, Alabama. Great people there, great church. As she alluded to, I'm a writer, educator, father, husband, lover of people. I'm just if I had to describe myself in very few words, you know what I would say?
Who was that?
I'm just a down-home country boy from Alabama.
All right,
yes.
All right.
But glad to be here.
Yeah, well, thank you for being here. And, it's interesting because, now, I don't know if it's because I'm older now, and then when I get to meet a pastor who's, young pastor, because when I was growing up, all the pastors were old.
Right.
There's old people. But I'm thinking, oh, shoot, maybe I'm old now.
It's an adjustment. It has been an adjustment for many of my members.
Yeah.
I'm
So you are considered a young pastor.
I am a young pastor. I'm only 29 years old.
Okay.
And the congregation I pastor is, we have a diverse age range of members. But, in fact, it was one of my members told me last night in Bible study, my grandson is older than you.
Oh, man.
But, I love it. The one thing about me, I'm young, but everybody who meets me always say I do have an old soul.
Yeah.
Yes. So,
yeah, that's great.
I think I've been here before.
Okay. Well, the reason why I asked that is because I just wonder, especially in the climate, the political climate nowadays, and just the way that things seem to be turbulent, and we act as if this is the only time period in history in which we've had turbulent times and politically challenging times. But I do wonder how that impacts your role as a pastor.
I definitely am intentional on making sure, as a pastor, as a leader in a faith community, that I address those issues. Okay. Some pastors, they want to separate faith and the work of the church, the work of God. They want to keep it totally separate from what's going on in our current climate, our current culture. Where I'm the opposite. It has to be addressed, right. Particularly when you hear things or you see things, realize things that are going on that whether it be injustice or inequality or just people being done wrong. It's our job as leaders of the faith community to address that, to not only address it, but to ask the question, what can we do to solve this, to find a solution to this. And I make sure, I tell my congregation all the time, you will hear me often say, even sometimes preach on issues that others may, deem, shy away from because they deem too political.
Okay.
But think about this. Dr. Martin Luther King.
Yeah.
We see him as someone who, the Nobel Peace Prize winners, the March on Washington, the I have a Dream speech, in the White House. It's this big, huge figure, which he was.
Right.
But when it came down to it, you know who Martin Luther King was at his core? A Baptist preacher.
Yeah. And he was in his 20s
he was in
when
his
he
20s.
first got started.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. Wow. All right. Well, you know what? Speaking of amazing leader, we are going to get into our trending topics.
Primary election. Lack of diversity. Gas prices.
Michael Jackson. Trending topics.
Okay, so one of the trending topics that I find to be probably one of the more inspiring, I've kind of pulled away a little bit from, speaking of politics, from some of the hardcore politics, because a lot of it has just become really redundant. And I know we talk love, politics, intellect on the show. So I've decided to go into, for today at least, a little bit of the feel-good politics. And that is, the portrait that was done of Michelle Obama. And it is a beautiful portrait. And there is this Facebook post that's been going around about a young girl, 2-year-old Parker Curry, who was so mesmerized by the picture that she just couldn't take her eyes off of it. Her mom, her mom kept trying to say, okay, come on, or turn around and take a picture, and she just couldn't stop looking at the picture. Well, Michelle Obama actually made it a point to meet this little girl. Wow. And I thought, and when I saw that scene, I thought, she is not going to pass up on an opportunity to meet with this little girl. And lo and behold, she did, and there's the Washington Post covered this, and it says that she meets the 2-year-old who was captivated by her portrait, and they danced, and so there's a video of them dancing, which I'll go ahead and post that on the live exchange page. But it was just this beautiful moment, and I love it when people who have as much public attention as Michelle Obama just comes down to earth.
It means a lot.
Yeah, it really does. And that, that's a life-changing thing that this little girl will always remember. Yes. So Michelle Obama said, she put on Instagram, Parker, I'm so glad that I had the chance to meet you today. Keep dreaming big for yourself, and maybe one day I'll proudly look up at a portrait of you.
Wow. Gotta love her.
Yeah, you just never know the kind of difference that you can make in somebody's life.
You don't.
So that is trending, and yes, I kept it light today because sometimes the politics is just
you have to balance it out.
Much. Yeah, you really do. And I do have a question about that. So when you look at your role as a your generation as a millennial, millennial. And we can talk about this when we get back, but I'll set up the question now. Your role as a millennial, or your categorization, for lack of a better word, as a millennial, how does that change or create a different way of approaching ministry, and how does that come against, or maybe even work with the other generations that are present in the church? So something to think about. When we come back, we're going to allow Wesley Thompson to answer that question. Stay with us.
You use Tearless baby shampoo because it's gentle on your baby's eyes. You make sure his toys don't have any sharp edges. You always test the bath water to make sure it's not too hot. You taught her what to do when the smoke alarm goes off. You make sure she wears a helmet when she rides her bicycle. You put on his sunscreen, even when he's embarrassed his friends will see. You do so much to keep your child safe. But are you using the right car seat for your child? Is your child facing the right way in the car seat? Is the seat too big or too small? How do you know when it's time to move your child into the next type of seat? Car crashes are a leading killer of children ages 1 to 13. Protect your child's future at every stage of life. For information on the right seat for your child, visit safercar.gov/the right seat. That's safercar.gov/ the right seat.
A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Why is Connor having trouble focusing in school?
Having trouble finding Connor's middle school? Would you like directions?
No, why is Connor having trouble focusing in school?
Finding lowest airfare to Istanbul.
No, I'm tired of fighting with him over homework.
Home, walk, restaurant. Need a review?
No, I need help. He's very smart, but his mind wanders. He's disorganized.
I think I understand.
Oh, good.
Finding best potatoes for French fries.
No!
Russet, fingerling, Yukon Gold.
Why don't you understand me?
Sorry, I was trying to show how Connor feels every day. Frustrating, isn't it? Redirecting to understood.org.
For the 1 in 5 kids with learning and attention issues, this is what life can feel like. Explore understood.org, a free online resource about learning and attention issues, designed to help your child thrive in school and in life. Understood.org, because understanding is everything.
Brought to you by understood.org and the Ad Council.
All right, welcome back to the Live Exchange. I'm Dr. Pamela, and today we are talking about the power of faith with Pastor Wesley Thompson. So right before the break, I was asking Wesley Thompson. Now, I know you've probably had this question before, but I'm just curious to know how, being a millennial, what does that bring uniquely and differently to the ministry, and how do you think that either contradicts or conflicts with or works with groups of other generations?
Yeah, it definitely brings an interesting dynamic. I'm intentional in my teaching, in my preaching. My goal is when I leave, when I get a benediction, my goal, my intention is for each member to leave saying, I got something out of that message. I preach in a way that both the 8-year-old and the 80-year-old can sit there and nod their head and say, I get that. Okay. I feel that. I understand that. So once again, like I said, I have an old soul, but because I'm young, I'm in tune with what's going on. My radio dial isn't always on Praise 102.5 or on gospel station. I listen to hip hop, so many times I will incorporate a Drake lyric in my sermon that will make a point, and of course it catches the young people's attention. But even in my preaching, my style of preaching, I'm old school to where my older saints who are used to that generational preaching, that generation's preaching, get something out of it. So I make sure I keep a balance.
So you do the hooping?
I do the hooping.
Oh,
yes.
He does the hooping.
I do the hooping. Yes.
All right now.
Yes, but I do the teaching with the hooping.
Right,
because
right.
This is a thing I believe in our generation. Our generation, particularly speaking of the African American church, because pastors and generations past did not have the opportunity to education like myself and others have. Right. They depending on that emotionalism in their preaching, where the hooping and really people felt it, and that's what helped got them through, and it's that's still a place for that. But nowadays, particularly with this younger generation, with people having the opportunity to go to college and are used to learning from a standpoint of they're using being informed intellectually and not just depending on being touched emotionally.
Right. So they want that.
They
need that balance.
They need that balance.
Yeah,
so
okay.
I make sure I give them the intellect part of the sermon throughout the first 30 minutes, and then I'm going to give them the emotional side the last 5 minutes.
All right now. Yeah. I love it. Okay. Well, I'm not going to tell you to turn it on today. I'm
No.
So we are going to get into the research, speaking of intellect and looking at the intellectual standpoint. We're going to look at the intellectual standpoint of hope.
Yeah.
In the interest of science.
Okay, so I'm bringing back a concept that we've talked about before in a different context, but today we're looking at faith, hope, love from a spiritual standpoint. So I really wanted to bring hope back into the conversation and look at how that lays against our understanding of hope. Is it spoken in the Bible, and is it spoken in our spiritual circles? So the theory of hope is one that was developed by a researcher named Snyder, and what he basically says is that, and you know, my cousin and I got in a pretty great detailed conversation about hope. She posted on her social media one day that hope is not a strategy, and I was like, oh, but it is, but it is, and she probably hates me for bringing this up now. And so we had this very lively conversation about, okay, what is hope, and why am I saying it's a strategy, and why is she saying it's not? It turns out we were both right. So from the standpoint that I'm coming from this theory, hope is a strategy in that it takes two particular components to make hope possible. So the first is what's called agency, and that's the idea that one has the ability to navigate his or her own path to accomplish a goal. That means I have it within me to make it happen. I have the resources inside of me. I have the will. I have the freedom. I have the autonomy to move forward with what I want to do. The second piece is pathways. Pathways is the external piece. So this refers to the available resources and forms of support on the outside of you needed to implement goal-oriented strategies. For example, let's say that somebody wants to go to college. They have agency, the internal resources to make it happen. They're getting the grades. They're doing the work. They're studying. So that's the agency part. The pathways is, but I don't have any money. So I'm going to apply for financial aid. I'm going to learn about the different resources that are out there that can help, work study and things that are going to help fund this process. But I also may not really know about college and what it takes, so I'm going to learn about college as well. So having that combination of agency and pathways is really the formula to make hope possible. So without those two things, there's really not a hope that's possible. So the reason why my cousin and I were both correct is because as we dug a little bit more deeply into this theory, it turns out that there is a thing called high hope and low hope. So high hope is this combination of agency and pathways. Low hope is just like, I wish this would happen, and it's just kind of it's more of a wish, and but nothing's happening. There's no, I'm thinking about the energy. There's nothing happening there. Yeah. So from her standpoint, low hope is not a strategy. Nothing's going to happen if you just
sit there.
I hope one day that, whatever, that's not going to work. Yeah. So that's the theoretical aspect of hope. And so I'm wondering, from your standpoint, how does that differ? Is that similar, or is that different?
That's very similar. Your description of high hope there sounds a lot of what it says in the Bible in the book of James, where James says, faith without works is dead. Okay. So this whole notion of high hope is, being hopeful for something, having a desire and want for something, but also strategically, logistically, making plans and, making an avenue to put yourself in position to obtain that hope. Whereas the low hope, I guess that's faith. That is faith without work. Yeah. Where you just, you can hope for something all day, but I can sit on the couch and hope for a job all day, but if I'm not online and looking at job engines, or reading classifieds, or inquiring who's hiring, what can happen? Right.
Yeah. Sit on the couch, hope for winning the lottery, but whatever. Right. It's just Right. Well, so my other question is, and this was also a part of our conversation, was that there are things that we hope for that really are not within our realm of agency. Yeah. So, I want wars to stop officially and forever. Yeah. Well, if you don't, that's not, you don't have the agency to make that happen. And I think, based on what we concluded, is that probably falls into the low hope category. Yeah. Because.
Or I would throw that, we can get back to it, I would throw that maybe in the faith category.
Ooh, so let's talk about the difference between that. Yeah. Okay, stay with us. We'll be right back.
You don't usually get a stock tip from a 16-year-old, but I'm here to tell you about a different kind of stock. It's called Better Futures, a stock for social change that's not about making money. Instead, you invest to help students like me go to college. This is beyond a simple donation. It's the opportunity for America to invest in its kids and take an active stake in the future of the country. The return on your investment isn't money. What you get back is knowing you protected our potential. So one day, that potential can grow up to become surgeons and architects, executives and engineers, people who can change the future just by being a part of it. My name is Alicia, and I'm your dividend.
Invest in better futures with UNCF. Visit uncf.org/invest. A mind is a terrible thing to waste, but a wonderful thing to invest in. A public service announcement brought to you by UNCF and the Ad Council.
The Women of Power Summit brought to you by Black Enterprise, highlighting the best in Black excellence for over 4 decades. This year's summit will be held in Florida, and we're inviting all of our listeners to come and enjoy the magic. March 7th through the 10th, 4 days in sunny Orlando with over 1,000 energized, influential women, intentional in growth and substance over competition. Undivided is how we'll stand with the Women of Power. It's the summit you can't afford to miss, from the Macy's shopping party to the Ultimate Girls Night Turn-Up or the 13th Annual Legacy Awards with previous recipients like Alfred Woodard, Andy Greer, Vanessa Williams, Felicia Rashad, Ruby D, to this year's Donna Brazile, Jen Kennedy Overton, Carmen D. Lavalade, and Edith Cooper. It's power on your own terms. Jerry G from Sensation Station's Destiny Talk will be your guide for your ultimate summit experience. Stop right now. Go to ssnatl.com to start your powerful journey. Click the links for more info or go to blackenterprise.com/WPS.
Women are power. Listen, as a hiring manager, I've got to tell you, the best job candidate isn't always the typical candidate. Sometimes they're a grad of life.
Meet the grads of life. Young adults of unique determination and experience, an ideal fit for your company in an entry-level position, internship, or mentorship. They might not have every qualification you typically look for, but they're exactly who your company needs.
Sometimes the best candidates aren't the ones you're used to.
Go to gradsoflife.org to learn how to find, cultivate, and train this great pool of untapped talent. Brought to you by the Ad Council and gradsoflife.org.
Attention, licensed financial professionals. Are you looking to provide client solutions for longevity risks, withdrawal rate risks, and sequence of return risks? If you answered yes, then Game Plan Financial Marketing could be right for you. We help financial professionals at every level of production by providing mentoring, sales training, and marketing support to help you grow your business. At Game Plan, our top priority is supporting you and helping you reach that next level of success on your terms, not ours. New team members receive a personalized, step-by-step marketing guide to help take your business to the next level. Claim your copy today. Call Brian Cantrell at 404-889-6317. That's 404-889-6317. Offer is intended for licensed insurance professionals only.
People are always looking to invest in a good opportunity. So what if you could invest in the future of kids, like a stock? Not the kind of stock that's about making money, but a stock for social change called Better Futures. With your investment, it helps students like me go to college. My name is Charles, and I'm your dividend.
Invest in better futures with UNCF. Visit uncf.org/invest. A mind is a terrible thing to waste, but a wonderful thing to invest in. Brought to you by UNCF and the Ad Council.
Uncle Dan? Mom? Dad? If you store your guns properly, so not just anyone can get to them.
I'll feel safer when I'm playing outside.
Safer when walking home.
Safer when my friends come over.
As your neighbor, I'll feel safer. As a school teacher, I'll feel safer.
We'll all feel safer.
Your family, friends, and neighbors are all counting on you. If you own a gun, you have a full-time responsibility. When you aren't using it, be sure it can't get into the hands of curious children, troubled teenagers, a thief, or anyone else who might misuse it. Remember, always, lock it up. For more information on firearm storage safety, visit ncpc.org. This message brought to you by the National Crime Prevention Council, the Bureau of Justice Assistance, and the Ad Council.
1 in 7 Americans will struggle with addiction during their lifetime. Want to know how you can help? Go to heretolisten.com for tips and tools to help turn addiction around. A public service announcement brought to you by the Ad Council.
All right, welcome back to the Live Exchange. I'm Dr. Pamela, and I'm joined with Wesley Thompson, and we're talking about the power of Faith. I was going to say prayer. But hey, that falls right in there.
Yeah, they have a connection, have a strong connection.
Connected.
Yeah.
So tell us, right before the break, you were saying that may not be hope. I was talking about the world. If we pray for all the wars to go away, we hope for that. Is that low hope? And you said, well, you know what? Maybe actually that's the power of prayer. Of faith. See, okay, but before we go into that, we actually have Sean Prime on the phone. And I don't know what that all means. But I'll tell you why. We have him on the phone. We have him on the phone because he is at the Woman of Power Summit in Florida, and it is sponsored by Black Enterprise. And so, so Sensation Station Network is down there and handling business down there. And so, a really great event. So, Sean, are you there? Hello, Sean. Hey.
What's going on?
Hey, how you doing?
Man, it's kind of weird being on this side of the phone.
I know, right?
Yeah. Man, I got to tell you, it's International Women's Day, and, you have, since you coming onto the station, you have definitely tackled those issues and others. And so I'm proud to be out here representing for you at the Black Enterprise Woman of Power Summit.
Woohoo! So who is there? Who are some of the big names?
Oh my goodness! Donna Brazile, Jane Kennedy Overton. Jane Kennedy Overton had everybody in tears.
Oh my goodness!
It's like 300 women to 3 men out here.
So you're loving it.
Everybody was in tears. What was super cool is when we got there and started to set up. I mean, you've talked about it a couple of times in your show. Black Panther, it's kicking butt in the theaters.
Yes.
So we actually met Dorian. You can check her out at Dorian through Instagram. She is the person responsible for the Women Warriors, the jewelry and everything, makeup. She did all of that.
Oh, she's a genius. She's amazing.
Yeah, so we met her, and she's actually coming to Atlanta to do some things. So we'll be touching base with her, and she'll be coming to Sensation Station as well.
She'll need to be on the show for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Wow. So how's the weather down there? Because it's freezing up here in Atlanta right now.
It kind of had a little chill snap. It was nice yesterday. It was around 75, 78. Okay. A little chill snap this morning. So we're getting ready to get things going, doing some video. We got our video person putting some video together. Cherry is down there at the Yacht Club. Okay. We're heading down there. The rest of the crew's heading down there. So just an incredible turnout. And again, to see this beautiful sea of African-American faces and women truly in power. Just coming. I know Brennan B., co-host from The Loop, she was interviewing some people, and just you can see the energy. You can see how it was bringing some people to tears, really. Wow. And I'm watching this all in front of me as it unfolds. So it's just really something to say about the state of Black America and the state of women today.
Right. I love it. And and I have to say that you can't see me, but in the studio, I'm wearing I'm rocking my Lady Boss shirt. So, so I'm with you all in spirit.
Yeah, and you are a boss. I mean, you are a boss. You do your thing. You've been doing your thing, rocking with ssnatl.com for a minute, and I'm proud that you're part of the station. And proud to be down here reporting for you at the Black Enterprise Women of Power Summit.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It's so great to hear from you, and I hope you continue to have a great time. Keep checking in with us and let us know how it's going.
Sure will. See ya. Thank you.
Okay. Peace out.
All right.
Bye. Wow.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm a little jealous. Get me down there. But I am representing here. By the way, this is a shirt by Positive Gear. And they can be found at positivegear.com. Lady Boss. Okay, so we have to get back on track. We were talking about the difference between hope and faith.
Right.
And I'm really curious to know, what your take is on the difference between the two.
Well, going back to where we ended, we were talking about the low hope, and the whole notion of, you can hope for what I'm sure some people view as that which is not realistic or that which is far-fetched, and I believe that's where faith kicks in. Those two words, you can find those two words in Scripture, faith and hope. Hebrews chapter 11 verse 1, where it says, "Faith is the substance of things hoped for, and the evidence of things not seen." That word substance, that word substance in the Greek is hypostasis, and it means foundation. Can mean foundation. So faith is the foundation of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. I believe that hope, to have hope, you have to have faith.
Okay.
And the hoping for the unrealistic, we have to, the high hope, going back to that, high hope is something that you can play a role in making happen. You can have a role in reaching, whereas the low hope, not to say that you shouldn't try to do something about it to get there, but low hope is where you're depending much more on God than you are on self, and you're understanding whatever that is you're hoping for. Only God can make that happen. Only God can make that happen. I can only pray about it and have faith and trust in Him, but realizing that it's only Him that's going to make that happen.
I have to surrender. Just take it.
That's
just
it.
handle it.
That's it.
I don't like that. No. That's hard because I'm a control freak.
Exactly.
I want to orchestrate.
Yes.
Oh.
I've been there.
We'll talk about that when we come back on the Live Exchange.
The Women of Power Summit, brought to you by Black Enterprise, highlighting the best in Black excellence for over 4 decades. This year's summit will be held in Florida, and we're inviting all of our listeners to come and enjoy the magic. March 7th through the 10th, 4 days in sunny Orlando with over 1,000 energized, influential women, intentional in growth and substance over competition. Undivided is how we'll stand with the Women of Power. It's the summit you can't afford to miss, from the Macy's shopping party to the Ultimate Girls Night Turn-Up or the 13th Annual Legacy Awards with previous recipients like Alfred Woodard, Andy Greer, Vanessa Williams, Felicia Rashad, Ruby D, to this year's Donna Brazil, Jim Kennedy Overton, Carmen D. Lavalade, and Edith Colbert. It's power on your own terms. Jerry G from Sensation Station's Destiny Talk will be your guide for your ultimate summit experience. Stop right now. Go to ssnatl.com to start your powerful journey. Click the links for more info or go to blackenterprise.com/WPS.
Women are power.
Adopt US Kids presents Multiple Choice Parenting.
Your daughter just had her first breakup. Do you A, put yourself in her shoes?
How could he do this to you? And for Sheila, she has split ends.
B, console her.
Oh, sweetie, this is going to happen a lot. 4, maybe 5 more times before you get married.
C, take charge.
Got to get this all straightened out. Give a little talking to, man to man, mano a mano. Hey, Steve. It's now a good time? No? Okay, no problem. Bye.
Or D, help her find a new boyfriend.
I know a great place to meet boys. The internet. Nice, single boys. Never mind. How about some ice cream?
As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Adopt US Kids presents Multiple Choice Parenting.
You've accidentally cut your daughter's bangs unevenly. Do you A, line things up a centimeter from her hairline?
Man, oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man.
No. Sweatbands are so hot right now. Everyone's wearing them. Like that basketball player and that other basketball player.
B, get spiritual.
Mom, where did all the mirrors go?
A reflection could never capture our true selves.
Huh?
Beauty is within.
C, look on the bright side.
Less time blow drying, more time texting.
Or D, show empathy.
Mom, you really don't have
Ta-da! Twinsies!
I kinda love it. As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Become the new you at Cobb County Kia. Get 0% APR financing for 75 months on select new 2017 and 2018 Kia Forte, Sportage, Sorrento, and Optimus. Kia has been voted #1 in initial quality by J.D. Power for the 2nd year in a row. Shop Cobb County Kia in Kennesaw and CobbCountyKia.com. Down payment will vary with APR and credit. For example, 0.0% APR with $2,500 down payment provides for 75 monthly payments of $13.33 per 1,000 finance for qualified buyers. APR finance available through KMF to qualified buyers. See dealer for complete details.
Hi, I'm Viola Davis. Did you know that 1 in 5 kids in America struggle with hunger? Growing up, I was one of those kids. But we can solve this. When we make breakfast happen for kids in our neighborhood, we have the power to end childhood hunger, create bigger, brighter school days, and healthier minds and bodies. Go to hungeris.org and lend your time or your voice.
We're hungry for more.
A message from the Albertsons Companies Foundation and the Entertainment Industry Foundation.
My savings are gone.
Okay, where were they last?
Here, right before I spent them on that vacation to Aruba.
Weird. Not weird. Not saving now means no money later. For free ways to save, go to feedthepig.org. This message brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
Our freedom and security are made possible through the service and sacrifice of our military and first responders. The Gary Sinise Foundation provides many outreach programs supporting these brave men and women. Join us. Donate at GarySiniseFoundation.org.
Keeping your balance with Dr. Pamela. Dr. Pamela. Dr. Pamela.
All right, so this week's Balance Challenge is brought to you by BBLA Cosmetics. Yes, I drew a blank for a second. I'm so sorry. But look at my face. This is why, because they make my face look so amazing that I just, I'm flabbergasted. So BBLA Cosmetics are responsible for the look on my face, and every week, Funmi Makinde, who is the owner of the company, does an amazing job of making sure that everything is aligned color-wise. So thank you, BBLA Cosmetics. Give them a shot. Check them out on the website, BBLAcosmetics.com. So this week's Balance Challenge, Wesley Thompson, Pastor Wesley, is going to take a stab at giving us our challenge for the week as it pertains to our topic.
Yes.
What's your suggestion?
So I challenge every one of us, 'cause I put myself in this category, to simply let go and let God. Now, when you hear that, you usually think of, okay, God, I'm going to let go of this situation, and, I'm going to let you handle this situation, and I'm going to give whatever I'm going through, give it over to you, which is true. But particularly as it pertains to the conversation we're having today with faith, whatever it is that you've been aspiring for, you've been dreaming for, you've been hoping for, but hasn't come to pass yet, it could be that it's because you're trying to use all of your power, use all of your mind, use all of your physicality, use everything you have to make it happen. And the one thing you have yet to do is say, God, let me sit back and let you do this thing.
I didn't ask you to tell everybody my business. I really didn't ask you to tell everybody my business.
No, but I challenge everybody to sometime this week, whether it's major or minor, think of something that you really want to happen in your life, whether it's here in the now or maybe sometime in the distant future, and just simply hand over the keys. Hand over the keys to God. I guarantee you'll find out good things tend to happen when you give God the keys.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
He gave us a guarantee, you guys.
Yes.
So if you don't see anything manifest, it may not be necessarily within the week. And that's the other thing about it, is the time frame.
The time frame,
Yeah. That's what's frustrating for me,
Yeah.
is okay, so can you at least give me a timeline for how I'm supposed to expect all these things to come to pass?
Right. God don't give details all the time, which is frustrating for me.
Me
A
too.
lot of us we want the ins and outs. We want to know. We're this GPS generation. We want to see our
turn by turn directions.
Exactly. We want to see our route. We want even if it's a 400-mile trip. We look at the route, the details, and look at every little move we have to make. Whereas, and that's where once again where faith comes in. Whenever God or whenever we're aspiring for something, and when you do depend on God to get you there, you may find out that you have to depend on God to get you there blindly, where you can't see it, but God can see it.
Right.
And you have to trust that what God sees is going to be a good thing, and it's going to put you in a position to make it to where you want to make it to, and make it safely. Because I truly believe God will not set you up to fail.
No. Well, I just wish God would adjust to the times, because He knows we like GPS.
I know. Look, sometimes you gotta maybe pray about this.
Yeah, I gotta pray about that. Stay with us, and we'll be right back.
Indoor baseball, anyone?
Most party fouls are pretty dumb, but if you decide to drink and drive underage, you could lose your license and your freedom. Learn more at ultimatepartyfoul.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
When it comes to saving money, don't act like a baby. Goo goo gaga. Be the boss and make a budget.
I'm the boss, baby.
You're not the boss of me.
I am the boss of you.
Are not.
M2.
Are not.
M2.
Ugh!
Need a little help?
Aren't you going to do any work?
I'm very busy delegating.
Create a personalized savings plan.
We could share.
You obviously didn't go to business school.
And get other tools and tips at feedthepig.org. Brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
You don't usually get a stock tip from a 16-year-old, but I'm here to tell you about a different kind of stock. It's called Better Futures, a stock for social change that's not about making money. Instead, you invest to help students like me go to college. This is beyond a simple donation. It's the opportunity for America to invest in its kids and take an active stake in the future of the country. The return on your investment isn't money. What you get back is knowing you protected our potential. So one day, that potential can grow up to become surgeons and architects, executives and engineers, people who can change the future just by being a part of it. My name is Alicia, and I'm your dividend.
Invest in better futures with UNCF. Visit uncf.org/invest. A mind is a terrible thing to waste, but a wonderful thing to invest in. A public service announcement brought to you by UNCF and the Ad Council.
Green light. Hey girl, school zone. I'm getting hungry. Car changing lanes. You want to meet me for pizza? Stop sign. Intersection clear. Yeah, street. Pizza sounds good. Ball in street? Girl in street!
It's hard to concentrate on two things at once, like texting and driving. Stop the text, stop the wrecks. How will you stop texting and driving? Tell us at stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
All right, welcome back to the Live Exchange. I'm Dr. Pamela, and today we are talking about the power of faith. And of course, with that conversation comes hope, love, prayer, relinquishing control, which is one of the things that I really struggle with because I have, I have plans, for my life, and I kind of know how I want my life to play out, and I feel like that's all based on God's will for me. Yes. So I feel like if I understand the journey, then just let some things come to pass that I need to have come to pass. But God is just kind of like.
Yeah, and you have to ask yourself. I have to constantly ask myself, okay, God, is this what you truly have for me? Is the purpose I'm on, what I'm doing, is this what you have for me? Mm-hmm. Or is this what I'm forcing myself to think you have for me?
Right.
Because we can't, make ourselves think God has something for us, or God has us on a certain path just to satisfy ourselves.
Right. Right.
Just because we know that's what we want to do, but in actuality, that's not what God has for us. And we have to make sure we follow what He has.
Yeah. That's tough because I know that I wrestle with and I know this sounds very self-righteous, but I'm like, Lord, I help people. I do this. I put in the work. I do this. And like, where, and it just gets very frustrating. And I see myself sometimes as some of the people in the Bible who've wrestled with God, like, why is this happening? Like Jonah, just like, no, I'm going to do, no, that's not what I want to do. Job, I felt like Job in the early part of the year when I was dealing with a lot of different types of health things, and everybody had an answer, just like all Job's people. Well, maybe you made God mad. Maybe you eat too much meat. Maybe oh my God, the list was so long of all the maybes and all the reasons why I must have had what I had.
Job is a perfect example of worship. And this is what you get for bringing a pastor in to talk about this stuff. Because this is scripture I'm gonna throw at you with Job. So if you look at Job chapter 1, verse 5. Before everything fell, was just where the stuff hit the fan for him. In Job chapter 1, verse 5, it says Job sacrificed to God on behalf of his children. So, which lets us know that Job gave his sacrifice, gave what he was supposed to give to God, but on top of that, he even gave more to God for his children. Wow. So, in verse 5 of Job chapter 1, Job gives everything. Wow. But if you skip down from verses 13 to 17, 18, Job loses everything. And and that's a good question. What do you do when you give everything? When you give everything to God, you give your finances. To God you give your service. To God you give your faith. To God you give your life. To God you give your help to others. But life still crumbles down for you.
Right.
But you know what Job did?
What do you do?
When that happened, the last thing that the last bad news that Job got in chapter 1 was when one of his servants came to him and said that your children have died. Yeah. And it says that Job went into mourning and he worshiped God.
Ooh. Wow.
So faith is, and that's a question I have for you, is faith with faith. If you truly have faith, faith is when you can lose everything despite giving everything, but still worship the one who allowed everything to be lost.
Ouch.
That's
how do you
faith.
do that? How does it? Wow,
that's faith.
That is faith. That's
Yes.
powerful. Well, I was gonna say, so when you lose everything, you go into Ecclesiastic, and the world is worth nothing, and life is meaningless. And
feel like David, if I had the wings of a dove, I'll fly away.
Right. But you know what, though? I have read the entire, Ecclesiastes isn't long, but when you get to the end, it really does say, actually, no, there is meaning. There is purpose. But if you don't get to that last chapter, then you come away with, see, life is meaningless. There's nothing, and so.
And going back to Job, if you stopped at Job chapter 1 or stopped at Job chapter 2, I can see where people can say, well, this Christian thing, this having faith in God thing, this is useless. But when you go to Job chapter 42, when he gets back everything that he lost times 2.
Yeah, that's amazing. And you know what? My dad read us the whole book of Job when we were kids, and it had a different meaning. So I'm like, okay, now as an adult, I need to go back with all the context I've had, 40 years worth of context, and read it again. So, wow. All right, we'll be right back on the Live Exchange.
Great leaders aren't born. They're made, and not just anywhere. They're made in special places by special qualified trainers in places like the Academy of Creative Coaching. The Academy of Creative Coaching is an international certification program with courses in health and wellness coaching, spiritual coaching, relationship coaching, executive coaching, life coaching, and cultural competency coaching. Courses are online, hybrid, or face-to-face. The Academy of Creative Coaching is empowering coaches to empower the world. Make a positive change in yourself and the world. Go to academyofcreativecoaching.com.
Indoor baseball, anyone?
Most party fouls are pretty dumb, but if you decide to drink and drive underage, you could lose your license and your freedom. Learn more at ultimatepartyfoul.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Tweens have mastered the art of tuning out. Jen, there's a spider in the car. We're turning your room into a home gym. See? Nothing. But some messages need to get through, like making sure they're buckled up the whole ride, every time. Do whatever it takes to make your child listen. Jen, I friended your boyfriend.
Wait, what?
Buckle up, sweetie.
Never give up until they buckle up. Learn more at safercar.gov/kidsbuckleup. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Driving has a rhythm all its own. Don't wreck it with a text. Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Or better yet, designate a texter. For more text-free driving tips, visit stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
Love Notes with Dr. Pamela.
Okay, so this week's Love Note is so appropriate for exactly what we've been talking about. It's brought to you by Red Door Consulting. Red Door Consulting is a boutique management consulting firm that prides itself as an innovative leader in brand development. So if you want to upscale your brand, you want to upgrade your look, upgrade the brand of the church, contact Red Door Consulting and they will do all of that for you. This letter comes from Janice. Janice is... She says, I used to pray for a lot of things. I was full of faith in my younger years, but my prayers don't get answered. The things I hope for just don't ever happen. the things you hope for. I have done my best to live my best life, and nothing works out for me. I hate to give up on what I want for my life, but I'm really beginning to think that what I desire may never happen for me. I know people who have died and have never gotten what they prayed for. If that's the case, then what really is the point of faith? So that I can believe in something that never happens? Signed, Janice. Talk to Janice.
Janice. First of all, I would say this, Janice. Whenever you pray to God for something, whenever you ask God something, God can give you one of three answers. Not one of two answers. One of three answers. Yes, no, or wait. And we have a trouble with the waiting part.
Oh, yeah.
Because whenever we hear wait can be 2 days, 2 weeks, 2 months, 2 years,
20 years.
20 years. And that's once again where faith kicks in. So that's the first thing. Okay. Secondly, can you handle God saying no? Because think about it. You ask God. You pray to God. You ask God, give me an answer.
Yeah.
God gave you an answer. You move on and still have faith and believe and move on to and with that no, say, okay, God, well, if not that, what then? Because I think a lot of times when people hear no, receive a no from God, and not saying this was Genesis' situation, but they can take on the mentality that, God doesn't love me, or this faith thing doesn't work. It works, but you have to understand that God has a will and a purpose for all of us.
Right.
And he wants us to be in his will and his purpose. And by answering yes to whatever you're seeking, that may not be the purpose he has for you.
Put you on the right path at
Yeah,
all.
it might not put you on the right path.
And I know for example, with my career, when I was in Wisconsin, I was applying for jobs there, and I couldn't understand. Like, I'm trying to be grounded and be where my kids are, and I'm trying to make everything and where they're settled. And nothing was really working out there. And then I applied for one job in Atlanta, and I get it.
Got it.
And I'm like, okay. And then it turned out to be so much better.
Yeah.
Salary-wise, the environment, the situation, everything was so much better about that.
Yeah.
Than same thing with buying a house. It was just trying to buy a house, get approved. Nope, didn't get approved. And still struggling from I was divorced, and the financial, avalanche that happened after the divorce was making it difficult to buy a house here. And I was just dead set on, I'm getting this house. And I look back now, and I'm so glad I didn't get that house, because it was built in a neighborhood where the construction had immediately stopped. And that's the only house that was finished in that neighborhood to this day.
Look at God.
And the house that I got is so much better. And that was without me strong-arming it.
Yeah.
It really was about, in fact, I was trying to strong-arm that. I won't get approved for that house. And the agent said, what do you mean? I don't know what you're talking about. And I said, I've got this stuff from my divorce that's, probably attached to my credit. She's like, I don't see anything. I don't know what you're talking about. And you are approved. And it's like, what? So it was not at all what I expected or what I asked for or what I planned. It was better.
Yeah. And that's what God can do. That's where faith kicks in once again. Believing God to do the unexpected. What other people see as normal, you have to believe God can make abnormal.
Yeah.
What other people see as traditional, you have to believe in God to do the untraditional. What other people see as routine, you have to see what God will make it, just extraordinary. And that's where that true faith kicks in. True faith is where I've heard a pastor, I believe it was Bishop Paul Morton, preached a sermon. And he was talking about where people can call you crazy because of what you believe in, but you ought to consider that a compliment, because that's how much faith you have in God.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. And I just think that part of the reason why we have such a hard time with no is because we're not necessarily asking God for permission. Can I have this house? We're saying, get me that house.
Yeah.
And he says no. We're like, no. I didn't ask if your opinion. I just want the house. So we probably need to readjust how we approach God. With our
Be prepared.
Right. All right. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Well, you'll see what happens.
Sensation Station Network.
What's a dumb way to listen to an awesome mix of urban hits? Start off.
Sensation Station Network.
Too much sauce.
All right, good morning and welcome to, actually good afternoon, and for those of us who are on the East Coast, and welcome to the second hour of the Live Exchange, where we talk love, politics, and intellect every Thursday from 11 to 1. I'm Dr. Pamela, and joining me today to discuss the power of faith is Pastor Wesley Thompson, who is also an author, a father, a scholar.
I'll take that aside.
And it's, you know, and he studied, what was it at Mercer that you studied?
Got a Master of Divinity.
In Master of Divinity. And so, yeah, absolutely. And so we've had a conversation along a wide range of topics. And one of the things that we have not yet delved into is, Pastor Wesley's experience with faith and having to operate that faith in a way that never in a million years would you have expected.
Did not see it coming.
Yeah, and so before we really get into your story, I want to just kind of pose this question that is in it's called the Book of Joy, and it was written by, I was going to say by Gandhi, but it was written by Desmond Tutu and the Dalai Lama, and really love it. Those two came together, two totally different religious backgrounds, and they're very good friends, and I love to see people who can cross lines and just really embrace each other, you know, and so the question, and this is one of the chapters in the book, there's nothing beautiful comes without suffering. And I'm like, why? So Desmond Tutu said it really well. He said, you know, when Nelson Mandela went to jail, he was young, and you could almost say he was bloodthirsty. He was the head of an armed wing of the African National Congress, his party. He spent 27 years in jail, and many would say 27 years, oh, what a waste. And I think people are surprised when I say, no, the 27 years are necessary. They were necessary to remove the dross. The suffering in prison helped him to become more magnanimous, willing to listen to the other side, to discover that the people he regarded as his enemy, they were two human beings who had fears and expectations, and they had been molded by their society. And so without the 27 years, I don't think we would have seen the Nelson Mandela with the compassion, the magnanimity, the capacity to put himself in the shoes of the other.
Wow.
Yeah. So nothing beautiful comes without suffering. So I just want us to just let that sink in for a minute. But so as we talk about that, and I really wanted your story to come in the context of that idea and that concept, because it seems that really rings true, and especially with your experience. And for those of you who are not familiar, Wesley Thompson has written a book called In Sickness and in Health, and it is really looking at, the subtitle is A Story of Love, Strength, and Faith, and it's looking at this really unexpected health issue that came about in your marriage. And would you mind telling that story?
Yeah, I just share a little bit. My wife and I, we were pregnant, and she developed a rare brain disorder due to the pregnancy, and was hospitalized for about 4 months. And it was just a very trying time for her, for us, something that once again hit us out of nowhere. And to me, the most challenging thing is that at the time I was 26, about to be 27 at the time, and the only thing I could ask myself is, why I'm a young 26-year-old husband here looking at my 28-year-old wife in this condition. Something I just could not understand, and something I really struggled with. And, you know, I will say this: I did not lose faith going through that trial. But I'll be honest with you, I was hanging on to a thread of it, and I thank God that thread was just enough to get me over. And that's why I would encourage anybody with, is that, you know, there's nothing wrong. All the best of us, preacher, pastor, or not, the best of us, our faith will dwindle.
Yeah.
But if you can just have an ounce, an inch, a thread of it left over, I guarantee you that is, God can take that little and can do some amazing things in your life to help you get through that situation.
Ooh. All right, so we're going to continue with this. Let that sink in, and we'll be right back.
Attention, licensed financial professionals. Are you looking to provide client solutions for longevity risks, withdrawal rate risks, and sequence of return risks? If you answered yes, then Game Plan Financial Marketing could be right for you. We help financial professionals at every level of production by providing mentoring, sales training, and marketing support to help you grow your business. At Game Plan, our top priority is supporting you and helping you reach that next level of success on your terms, not ours. New team members receive a personalized step-by-step marketing guide to help take your business to the next level. Claim your copy today. Call Brian Cantrell at 404-889-6317. That's 404-889-6317. Offer is intended for licensed insurance professionals only. The Women of Power Summit, brought to you by Black Enterprise, highlighting the best in Black excellence for over 4 decades. This year's summit will be held in Florida, and we're inviting all of our listeners to come and enjoy the magic. March 7th through the 10th, 4 days in sunny Orlando with over 1,000 energized and influential women, intentional in growth and substance over competition. Undivided is how we'll stand with the Women of Power. It's the summit you can't afford to miss, from the Macy's shopping party to the ultimate girls' night turn-up or the 13th annual Legacy Awards with previous recipients like Alfred Woodard, Greer, Vanessa Williams, Felicia Rashad, Ruby D, to this year's Donna Brazile, Jim Kennedy Overton, Carmen D. Lavalade, and Edith Cooper. It's power on your own terms. Jerry G from Sensation Station's Destiny Talk will be your guide for your ultimate summit experience. Stop right now. Go to ssnatl.com to start your powerful journey. Click the links for more info or go to blackenterprise.com/WPS.
Women are power.
Hi, I'm Danica Patrick. Watching my nieces grow, play, and learn is amazing, but not every child gets to be carefree. 1 in 6 kids in the U.S. are hungry. This breaks my heart, and it's something that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste and gives it to families in need. To help, visit feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Uncle Dan?
Mom?
Dad? If you store your guns properly, so not just anyone can get to them.
I'll feel safer when I'm playing outside.
Safer when walking home.
Safer when my friends come over. As your neighbor, I'll feel safer.
As a school teacher, I'll feel safer.
We'll all feel safer.
Your family, friends, and neighbors are all counting on you. If you own a gun, you have a full-time responsibility. When you aren't using it, be sure it can't get into the hands of curious children, troubled teenagers, a thief, or anyone else who might misuse it. Remember, always, lock it up. For more information on firearm storage safety, visit ncpc.org. This message brought to you by the National Crime Prevention Council, the Bureau of Justice Assistance, and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to the Live Exchange. I'm Dr. Pamela, and we're talking about faith. And Wesley Thompson was just giving us, the story of the experience with him and his wife that they experienced. What was, for people who don't understand what this is, what was the most difficult part of this process? What was the thing that would make you, shake in your faith?
Not knowing when this was going to be over. Not knowing what the end was going to look like. Not knowing if I was going back home or if I was going to go to a funeral home. That was the toughest thing, as far as this thing that even the doctors were just had many of them had not encountered. They read about but had never encountered before.
And we're not talking about a weekend or a couple of days in the hospital.
4 months.
Yeah,
we're talking about 4 months, August.
The duration of the pregnancy.
Yes, yeah. And that was the toughest thing. But I thank God for support of family, friends, and once again, just my foundational faith. I mean, I really, truly leaned on that, and it put me in a position to where, as a preacher, it gave me an opportunity to live out what I preach about. Where I stand in the pulpit and I encourage others to, trust in God, lean and depend on God, put your faith on God when hard times come. And I had experienced tough times, but of course, nothing to this magnitude. And I truly, once again, had to live out what I preach to others. But looking back on that, it has helped me that in my preaching, before this experience, when in my hooping, before this experience in my hooping, when I will yell out, God is a healer, or yell out, God will make a way. I meant it back then, but I meant it by what I read, by what I heard.
Yeah, maybe.
Now that I said, when I belch out, God is a healer. God is can make a way out of no way. I mean it by experience.
Yes.
And it's a huge difference. Where I'm truly feeling, because I know firsthand that He is a healer. That he can make a way out of nowhere.
So so how does that work for somebody who hasn't experienced and witnessed that in their own life? Particularly, so you have people of different faiths. People who are not church going, and yet they have some level of faith. How does faith play out outside of the realm of religion?
I think, of course, as a Christian preacher, Christian pastor, I truly believe you have to have a relationship with Jesus to make it through some things. You can get by in life without Jesus, but I guarantee you, having Jesus make things just a little bit easier to get by when they come.
Is it possible to have Jesus without religion?
My answer to that is no.
No.
And that's a whole nother topic that I've had conversations about that. But I mean, going back to my situation and what you were saying about others who encountered some things, all of us have heard that saying. It's not scripture. A lot of us confuse that saying, God won't put more on you than you can bear. That's not in the Bible, by the way.
Right.
The idea
I've
of
said
it,
that a lot of times on the show.
Yeah, the idea of it is in the Bible, but it's not scripture verbatim. But it rings some truth to it, because I do not believe God will put you in a situation which He did not think or believe or know that you couldn't handle to begin with, because he created you, he molded you, he built you. So in my situation, God gave me a level 10 hard time or situation, because He knew I had a level 10 faith. And I don't believe God is not going to give somebody a level 8 situation who has level 3 faith.
Wow. So that begs the question, and this is a little philosophical me talking now, is does God give us all of the situations that we endure? And we have to go to trending topics, but I want to come back to that question because I'm really curious about that. Is it God-given, or is it, what is it? Is it because the world is evil, and and the world just put this on us, But we're going to come back to that question, because I really want to deal with that. But first, we're going to get into trending topics.
Primary election. Lack of diversity. Gas prices.
Michael Jackson. Trending topics.
So the state of Georgia is looking to kind of make history with there's a lot of energy right now behind the possibility of electing the first African American governor to the state of Georgia, and so there's a lot of talk about this. There's a lot of talk as if, I think I saw a headline that said she is the first. Like, the election hasn't even happened yet. Right. Campaigning hasn't even begun yet. And this is an influential Democratic donor. This is coming out of USA Today, is launching a $2.5 million effort to help elect veteran Georgia legislator Stacey Abrams as the state's first African-American governor. And the philanthropist is Susan Sandler. She's spending $1 million of her own money and has rounded up commitments for another $1 million. And she's calling on some other 100 Democratic donors to chip in to boost her campaign. So there's a lot of energy behind this, and although the party has not held the governor's mansion in the Democratic Party, and I'm not, I was like, R as no, I'm independent, by the way. But although the party has not held the mansion in more than 15 years, meaning even though there was may have been, governor of, Democratic governor, there's not yet been an African-American governor at all. And so Democrats are emboldened by recent victories in Virginia's governor's race. And then in Alabama
Senate race,
yes, where Doug Jones became the first Democrat elected to Senate in the first 25 years. So there's a lot of energy behind the possibility of getting Stacey Abrams to office, and so
that's awesome.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens.
I learned something new. I didn't know. Of course, now that I'm back in Alabama, I'm not in touch with Georgia politics as I was used to being when I actually lived here. But that'd be a good opportunity.
Yeah, well, and Alabama politics over the last year have been very.
We were the spotlight.
Yes, so I can see how everything.
But
else
look,
is gonna...
I sit here today and can truly say, based off what happened in December, I am proud to be an Alabamian.
All right.
Yes.
Yeah.
I thought. Look, I thought if it went the other way, I wouldn't be able to say that.
Yeah. Yeah, and I have to say, I'm kind of glad it went the way that it went as well. So that is the trending topics, and so when we come back, just to remind ourselves and you all with the question that we posed, and that is, are all the things that happen in our life, did God put that on us? Is it God in every case, or are there situations in which it's not? And I'm going to let the pastor address this one. So stay with us, and we'll be right back.
Green light. Hey girl, school zone. I'm getting hungry. Car changing lanes. You want to meet me for pizza? Stop sign. Intersection clear. Yeah, street. Pizza sounds good. Ballin Street? Girlin Street!
It's hard to concentrate on two things at once, like texting and driving. Stop the text, stop the wrecks. How will you stop texting and driving? Tell us at stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Great leaders aren't born. They're made, and not just anywhere. They're made in special places by special qualified trainers in places like the Academy of Creative Coaching. The Academy of Creative Coaching is an international certification program with courses in health and wellness coaching, spiritual coaching, relationship coaching, executive coaching, life coaching, and cultural competency coaching. Courses are online, hybrid, or face-to-face. The Academy of Creative Coaching is empowering coaches to empower the world. Make a positive change in yourself and the world. Go to academyofcreativecoaching.com.
Welcome back to Life Exchange. I'm Dr. Pamela. If only y'all knew what happened behind the scenes, you will not know. But before the break, I posed the question about whether or not, because we talked about the idea that God will not put more on us than we can bear. And the reason why I asked that question, the question I ask is, does God put all of this, everything that happens, did God do that? Did God plant the cancer? Did God make such and such a prisoner of war? There was a awful scene where somebody was captured by, terrorist group, set fire, filmed. Did God do that to him? So how do you negotiate that?
So as far as the trials and the things that happen to us in life, there's three avenues it comes from, if I can sum it up quickly. The 3 T's. Yes, there are some things that happen that God allows to happen to test us. Mm-hmm. So some of the things we go through is a test from God.
Okay.
First one. Secondly, there are some things that happens in life that is nothing but pure evil and satanic, and it's a temptation from the devil.
Okay.
So you have test from God, temptation from the devil. And thirdly, there are some things that happen in life where God didn't have anything to do with it. The devil didn't have anything to do with it.
It's all about you.
But you just got to look in the mirror and say, you know what? I caused that trouble.
Okay.
So you have trouble
Got it.
from self. So a test from God, temptation from Satan, trouble from self. Those are the 3 avenues I will say on how we find ourselves in situations. But going back to the first one, a test from God, God allows things to happen in life And yes, they're trouble. I mean, they're troubling. They can really put us down. You know, some things that, you know, we in our minds we did not deserve, and in actuality, in reality, we did not deserve.
Right.
But it's in those times I truly do believe God allows some things to happen in testing us to see if we for ourselves to realize, are we truly about what we say we're about?
Okay, so you just like slammed everything I was just about to say, because I was gonna say, okay, but this poor guy who got captured, set to fire, and he can't get out of that situation.
Yeah.
He's gone. You know, there's no escaping. He's done.
Yeah.
And so I was you know, getting ready to challenge you with that until you said,
I mean,
it makes you, you know, stand for, you know, what is it that you stand for?
Yeah.
What is it? And
Genesis chapter 22, the story of Abraham, when he takes Isaac, God tells Abraham to take Isaac, his son, to sacrifice him.
Right.
Is probably the ideal picture of what faith looks like. Because here you have Abraham, who treasures and cherishes his son Isaac, his one son who God gifted him and his wife Sarah to have in old age, the one who is going to carry on his seed and produce this generation after generation that God promised Abraham. God told Abraham to go to the mountain and sacrifice your son to me. And you look at the scripture, right after God gave that command, the next verse says, and Abraham arose early in the morning and went to the mountain. There was no questions.
Right.
There's no arguing. There's no debate. There's no waiting around trying to figure out how can I get around this. He simply got up early in the morning and he went to sacrifice. And when on their way to the mountain, Isaac even pictures and realizes something isn't right, because we have everything for the sacrifice except for where's the sacrifice?
Yeah.
And Abraham responds by simply saying, "Son, the Lord will provide."
Faith.
And of course we know
because he could have gone. I would have been like, see, so the Lord told me that it's you. So, okay, that's good. That's good. It doesn't, you know, and I don't think we're meant to know everything. So it doesn't necessarily give me full peace and understanding about why people unjustly die who are completely innocent and really didn't deserve it. But again, I have to, I guess, go back to, we just aren't going to know everything.
We don't.
You know,
and that's
pursuit of knowledge.
And that's the question. A lot of people come to me with questions. Some questions out the, I mean, they're intentionally trying to, you know, in their minds trying to, you know, trick me into answering something because some of the questions can be so far-fetched where my response is, you know what, I'm not sure, but I'll be sure to ask God when I get to heaven.
Right. And because there's something we just won't know. We just don't need to know in some cases. So we're going to go into the research.
In the interest of science.
Okay, so gotta love science. So the science actually reveals some of the benefits of prayer, and I know some church folks will be like, "Well, the Bible already told us what the benefits of prayer." I get it, but you know, scientists like to look at stuff too, and it really is. I really love science when it does validate our faith, when it does, you know, and not that we need it to do that, but it just makes the work of a scientist all the more meaningful. And so I really love positive psychology, for example, because a lot of the principles that we're researching about what makes humans succeed and do well mirror exactly what's been taught from the spiritual standpoint from childhood. And so to me, it's like, yes, work that I can do in the secular world, but that mirrors my spiritual background. So what is the name of the research? Clay Rutledge. He did some research to look at what the benefits of prayer are, and he came up with a few. The first one is self-control. Prayer appears to help boost people's willpower, making it easier for them to exercise self-control. So, you know, if you're praying for something, you know that, especially if it's something that you just can't will to happen yourself. With prayer, it gives you the faith to say, you know what, I'm going to let go. I'm going to let God. I'm just going to chill and pray. I'll give you one more, and then we'll go to break. Is the evidence that prayer actually makes people nicer. Across multiple experiences, researchers found that having participants pray for someone reduced aggressive responses to being angered or provoked. This research suggests that prayer may be a good anger management tactic. And those studies, have been consistent in helping people be more considerate and more empathetic to other people. So, to me, that tells on you if you're mean. If you're a mean-spirited person.
It does. All y'all mean church folk out there.
Right. What's your prayer life
y'all
looking
ain't
like?
praying.
All right. Stay with us, and we'll be back with the rest on the Live Exchange.
Our freedom and security are made possible through the service and sacrifice of our military and first responders. The Gary Sinise Foundation provides many outreach programs supporting these brave men and women. Join us. Donate at GarySiniseFoundation.org.
Attention, licensed financial professionals. Are you looking to provide client solutions for longevity risks, withdrawal rate risks, and sequence of return risks? If you answered yes, then Game Plan Financial Marketing could be right for you. We help financial professionals at every level of production by providing mentoring, sales training, and marketing support to help you grow your business. At Game Plan, our top priority is supporting you and helping you reach that next level of success on your terms, not ours. New team members receive a personalized, step-by-step marketing guide to help take your business to the next level. Claim your copy today. Call Brian Cantrell at 404-889-6317. That's 404-889-6317. Offer is intended for licensed insurance professionals only.
Indoor baseball, anyone?
Most party fouls are pretty dumb, but if you decide to drink and drive underage, you could lose your license and your freedom. Learn more at ultimatepartyfoul.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
People been saying to your friend, get a different face, and posting on their feed, they're super ugly. The things they say to them online are cruel and they're not true. So tell your friend, I'll stand up for you. Don't worry, I know what to do.
Know someone being bullied online? You can be a witness and make a difference by letting the world know it isn't cool and by letting your friend know you care. Learn more at eyewitnessbullying.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Now it's time to bring it back.
Like an awesome mix of urban hits.
This is an awesome mix.
All right, welcome back to the Live Exchange. I'm Dr. Pamela, and we are talking about the power of faith, and I'm joined by Pastor Wesley Thompson, author, father, pastor, scholar, and we were talking about the research. It was published in Psychology Today, and it talked about the power of prayer, or just really the benefits of prayer and what prayer can do. And the first one was self-control, and the second one was that prayer makes people nicer. Love it. So the third one is that prayer similarly makes it easier for people to forgive. I can do a whole show on forgiveness.
Yes, I believe that.
Yeah,
because I don't believe you can genuinely forgive without prayer. It's funny. I had a conversation with another pastor friend of mine yesterday. We were at a convention meeting yesterday. We were talking about forgiveness. Out of all the traits and characteristics there are of being a Christian, the trait and characteristic of forgiveness or forgiving, I believe, is the toughest thing about being a Christian.
Wow. Why is that? Why is it so tough?
Because to forgive somebody who hurt you, and because think about it, if we truly are talking about Christian forgiveness, Christian forgiveness is forgiving that individual, and after that, still being nice, and I'm not going to say so much having a relationship.
You're right, but you treat them with dignity and respect.
You treat them with dignity and respect.
Yeah. And how do you treat somebody with dignity and respect who has done you wrong if you haven't gone through that?
Because, a lot of times, people say, I forgive you, but I'm done with you.
Right,
I'm going to see you anymore.
Right.
But, that's forgiveness. But if we are going to talk about true Christian forgiveness, it's I forgive you, I still love you. And if something ever happens to where you are in need, and I'm the only one that can provide it, I'm going to say I'm the only one who can provide it because you can get it somewhere else. I let you know. But if I'm able to help,
Right.
I'll do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also when that your name comes up again, I don't get these feelings that rise up of anger or animosity. That your name can be spoken, and all I can think of is well wishes for you.
Yeah.
And that maybe sound like asking a lot for some people, but
it is.
That
but
is freeing.
It's freeing. And
I
you
mean,
have to pray for that spirit. Pray to have that mentality.
Because who wants to have this bout of anxiety every time somebody's name is mentioned, or every time So yes, it helps to forgive.
That reminds me. I'm not sure. I say this quickly. This is this little comical video on Facebook where I saw where it's not real, but they pretend, where this mom tells the son, "Ooh, you look just like your daddy." He's smiling and grinning, and then she slaps him, and she says, "I can't stand your daddy."
Oh no! I think I've heard that one. So forgiveness. So mom needs to forgive daddy, because you don't see daddy's face on your child as the child gets over.
don't slap him because he looks like
that. But researchers, and just to go a little bit more deeper into this forgiveness, researchers found that having participants pray for romantic partners and friends made those individuals more likely to forgive their partners and their friends.
Yeah.
Whoa, so that's not, I'd love to get into the relationship piece.
Yes.
But this is consistent with other research suggesting that prayer improves romantic relationships.
I believe that.
So, yes, absolutely. The next one is also relevant for relationships. Researchers found that having couples pray together increased both feelings of unity and trust, and did so more than having couples talk about positive experiences. So praying together was more powerful than just talking about positive experiences. This work suggests that prayer is more than just an emotionally positive experience. It helps bring couples together. So there's two more, and we'll talk about those two more when we come back, but that's really good stuff. We'll be right back.
Marie Callender's knows that you may not have time to roll out dough for a perfectly flaky crust that's made from scratch, or enough time to mix vegetables with all white meat chicken and a homemade gravy. She knows you may not have a moment to crimp the edges of your favorite chicken pot pie, but Marie Callender's does. And when she's done, all you need to do is find time to grab someone special, sit down, and savor. Marie Callender's. It's time to say.
No word in the English language is less convincing than probably.
Are you sure we should get matching tattoos on our first date?
Sure. We'll probably stay together.
Probably? It's been 23 minutes since I ate. I can probably swim.
You should wait 30 minutes.
Okay, now tell me what to do. Cannonball! Cramp! Oh, I have a cramp.
I can probably hit the green from here.
Probably.
Can I get a mulligan?
Ready to go?
Hey, are you sure you're okay to drive?
Yeah, I'm pretty sober. Yeah, I'm probably okay. Probably okay isn't okay, especially when it comes to drinking and driving. If you're drinking, call a cab, a car, or a friend. Buzzed driving is drunk driving. A message brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Our freedom and security are made possible through the service and sacrifice of our military and first responders. The Gary Sinise Foundation provides many outreach programs supporting these brave men and women. Join us. Donate at GarySiniseFoundation.org.
Keeping your balance with Dr. Pamela. Dr. Pamela. Dr. Pamela.
Okay, so this week's Balance Challenge is being issued to us by Wesley Thompson. And by the way, it is sponsored by Peasy Heads. Peasy Heads is a natural hair company, natural hair product line that allows for your hair to be natural and healthy. And so go to peasyheads.com. That's PeezyHeadz.com. So what's our challenge this week?
I challenge each and every one of us, as I said earlier, I include myself in this, to simply let go and let God. And what I mean by that is...
Simply?
Yes, simply. Simply. With prayer, it can be simply. What I mean by that is whatever it is you're desiring for, whatever it is you're dreaming, you're aspiring for to happen in your life, whether it be something in your career, your vocation, your family life, your relationship, education, whatever it may be, but you have been so hands-on and trying to make happen. You know, you've been the driver, you've been the pilot, you've been the conductor of the train, and you've been, you know, making all the decisions. Why don't you actually allow God to do something? Because, you know, a lot of us, we think, once again, as I alluded to earlier, we can make ourselves think that God is in the process when he really isn't.
Yeah.
We haven't fully given him, as I said earlier, the keys. So hand over the keys to God and trust him, and you'll be so. I hope you won't be surprised, but you just may be surprised of the things he can do to help you get to what you've been wanting to do when you take yourself out of it and put him in it.
I mean, pushing him out of the way. Like, I got the oil. I'll change the oil. I got it. I got it.
Right.
Yes. So let go. Let God. How do you say this to? How does this apply to people who are struggling with faith and religion? What do you tell them?
What I would tell them is, ask this question: have what I've been doing worked? If the answer is no, try Jesus.
Try something new.
Yes. I was about to say it in one of my old church mother's voices. Try Jesus. I mean, I say that unapologetically, unashamedly, because most, I am a Christian. I am a Christ follower, and I truly do believe that it's in Him in which Christ. He told us in John chapter 10 that He came to give us life and life more abundantly, and you can only obtain that type of life with Jesus.
So the reason why I'm asking these questions is because, last time there was a school shooting, the theme, which was really upsetting for me, but the theme that was going around social media was, no more thoughts and prayers. Let's stop with the thoughts and prayers. Forget thoughts and prayers. And it's like, so I get the point that, that's not going to fix it alone. Let's deal with legislation, and I get it. But when we are knocking people whom that's their method, they have no maybe direct power in legislation, but their heart is compelling them to pray. Yeah. I worry that we have become a society of people that have just said, you know what, forget all that faith stuff. Yeah,
yeah, we have. And I when I heard that, I heard the same thing, and to an extent, I agree because I believe they were speaking particularly to those individuals who do have the power, yet lean on I'm praying for you, our thoughts are with you. Okay. You have to do more than pray.
And there's a scripture against that. Don't just say that I'm going to, all is well with you, and then you just go back your way.
Exactly.
So that makes sense.
You have to put action behind your prayers. Yeah. Especially if you have the ability and the power, the secular earthly power to make good change. Right. That goes back to when God gives us stewardship over things. That is a form of stewardship. Right. When you are in the office.
That's so true.
And have the ability, the power.
Absolutely.
To make things happen. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so we're getting close to the end of the show, so I have to at least give these last two bullet points. So the benefits of prayer, and the last two were relationship related, that it helps with forgiveness, but that it also helps, romantic relationships and helps couples, be more together, more unified. Prayer is a way to cope with stress. Yeah. That's probably the way I use it the most. Probably not good, but that's, like, Lord, please. There is quite a bit of research focused on the different ways that people use prayer to cope with a variety of psychological and physical health challenges. So research is also discovering how the content of a prayer matters. For instance, prayer that is focused on showing thankfulness or getting closer to God has a positive effect on mental well-being. Prayer that is focused on asking God for something does not positively influence well-being and may even harm it. Ooh.
I agree with that. Yeah. You have to have a balance. If the only time you talk to God is when you're in trouble, and not to say God won't come and meet your need and hear your plea, but the more you talk to God, the more reliable God becomes to you, to where when stress comes about, you don't have to say, oh, well, let me get on my knees and pray. I got to talk to God. But in fact, it's a part of where you, in fact, the more you pray, when things come about, you may not even have to pray because you already know God's going to take care of that.
Yeah.
You know, instead of getting on your knees praying, God, take care of this, it don't get to that point because you just know, because you spent that time with him through your prayer life, which prayer should be a lifestyle. Prayer should not be something you turn off and turn on. It should be an everyday lifestyle. Exactly. But because you had that intimate time with God, you just know when something comes about, you just know that God's going to take care of it. God's got it. Yeah.
Okay, well, and then I think that was the last one. It was coping with stress. And so we're going to be right back, and stay with us on the Live Exchange.
When I grow up, I want to be a new pair of blue jeans.
When I grow up, I want to be a kid's first computer.
I want to be a warm fleece on a
I
cold
want to be
day.
a football
I want to
stadium.
be a bike that races around the country.
I want to be a bench on a forest trail.
When I grow up, I don't want to be a piece of garbage. And if you recycle me, I won't be.
Give your garbage another life. Recycle. Learn how at iwanttoberecycled.org. Brought to you by Keep America Beautiful and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Viola Davis. Did you know that 1 in 5 kids in America struggle with hunger? Growing up, I was one of those kids. But we can solve this. When we make breakfast happen for kids in our neighborhood, we have the power to end childhood hunger, create bigger, brighter school days, and healthier minds and bodies. Go to hungeris.org and lend your time or your voice.
We're hungry for more.
A message from the Albertsons Companies Foundation and the Entertainment Industry Foundation.
When it comes to saving money, don't act like a baby.
Goo goo gaga.
Be the boss and make a budget.
I'm the boss, baby.
You're not the boss of me.
I am the boss of you.
Are not.
M2.
Are not.
M2.
Need a little help?
Aren't you going to do any work?
I'm very busy delegating.
Create a personalized savings plan.
We can share.
You obviously didn't go to business school.
And get other tools and tips at feedthepig.org. Brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
This is big business. This is the American way. Station Network. See ya.
All right. Welcome back to the Live Exchange. And just with regards to our conversation about the power of faith, there are a couple of questions that I wanted to just shoot at you real quick. Okay. I shouldn't say shoot at you. Just ask you. Before we finish out, one of the things that I stemming from our conversation. Oh, I asked that question already. So good. That means we have more time for the other one. When is it faith versus stupidity? For example, testing God. For example, this past weekend, my flights got canceled trying to get to a presentation I needed to do. My hard-headed self said, I'm going to rent a car and drive. And the whole time I'm driving, I'm realizing why the flights got canceled. And dangerous situation. And I am praying like, Lord, I just need you to get me there, please. So at what point is it faith versus stupidity? Because that was probably a really stupid move.
Yeah, you just have to. God will reveal that to you either at the time or afterwards.
It was afterwards, thankfully.
Yeah, but you just have to be. Within God can do anything, but God, that song says God will do what He said He would do. Mm-hmm. Don't ask God to case in point. I've heard preacher preach about and heard him teach about and he used it in this example, a woman. You can't pray to God to give you a man that's already married. You can't put your faith in that.
Uh-huh.
That's
false. Low hope.
That's low hope. That's very low hope. That falls into the I hate to use that word stupidity, but that's ignorant category. Mm-hmm. That's something that God is not going to ordain. That's outside of God's nature. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That is interesting. Okay, my other question is. And I don't know if this is a perception or not. How can we be faithful in today's political climate? From my point of view, the political climate is not pretty. No. But I also do know, as I said at the beginning of the show, there's nothing new under the sun. So there's always been bad leaders, and there's always been, I'm not naming no names, but but there's always been the dissension and division that's happening. Yeah. how do we stay faithful in light of these kinds of
Goes back to what I was saying earlier. Pray, but act as well. Pray about the country, pray about our leadership, but ask yourself, okay, what can I do as an individual? What can we do as a church? What can we do as Christians? What can we do as believers? What can we do as faith believers to make an impact, to make a change, to do what's right, what we know is right, what isn't being done right.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So what is that? What is your role in this big mess? Don't hide.
No, don't hide.
Be a part of the solution.
Exactly.
So we are close to the very, very end of the show, and I want to know how people can reach you. If they're crossing through your town and they want to go to your church, or they want to, is there a website? How can they find you?
Yeah, they can reach me on social media, Wesley Thompson on Facebook, Wes Thompson 1906 on Twitter and on Instagram. My website, wesleydthompson.com. My phone number, nope.
Not today.
Not today, but those avenues you can reach me.
And you can find his book, In Sickness and in Health, on Amazon. Good. So look for In Sickness and in Health by Wesley Thompson on Amazon. Great book. And so you're going to be at a marriage conference next month?
Yeah, next month at Orchard Knob Missionary Baptist Church in Chattanooga, Tennessee, April the 24th, Saturday. Yeah.
All right, cool. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us.
I enjoyed myself. Thank you for the invite.
We've got to have him back. We've got to have him back. Thank you. And thank you for joining into the live exchange today, where we exchange compelling dialogue around love, politics, and intellect every Thursday from 11 to 1, right here on the Sensation Station Network. Now, next week, the live exchange will be hosted by Daisy Mack of PZ Heads, who will be, as I'm traveling to Houston. So treat Daisy right. She's going to be talking about Black Panther, as well as being a business owner and a woman. So stay with us. Come to us next week. And remember, love yourself to life, dance confidently in the dark, and dream wildly unrealistic dreams. Have a wonderful week.